But yeah,
I'm doing my hair.
So y'all, while he's doing his hair, just want to make this very clear that the reason why I'm wearing an extra large shirt is because I had surgery this week. So if you want to donate to your boy, money, weed, anything, I'll take it. I will take it with the quickness. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
I was about to give you a name to ask, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to disrespect him like that. So
a name to ask?
Yep.
Who?
I'm not. Why would I save it on air?
You can. It makes for good content.
Live from Brooklyn, New York. Come on, whoa! You're listening to the Culture 316 podcast.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dre the Creative.
I totally forgot this camera was on for like a good 3 seconds.
A good 3 minutes.
I am the icon, the Don, the legend, the cult of personality, Angelo Carter. And I have beef with you. Let me tell you why I have beef.
All right.
Because earlier, right, I was watching last week's episode, and it's a co-host, Angelo Carter. I was waiting for the icon, the Don, the I was waiting for like the stars. I didn't see that.
I didn't listen. Them lower thirds only be having but so much space. So if I did put your whole name, all the text would run off the screen, or I would have to decrease the text to the point where people can't see it.
Why don't you have it like pop? You can't do it like it pops up. But I'm not gonna make you do all that. But
I'm
just saying, like,
I'm crippled right now. I can't do all that.
You know, like, you know. So when you're not. So
when I'm not crippled, I can do that.
You know, I'll just give you a day when you should do it like star. You know.
But until then, that's gonna be about 6 weeks. So until then,
probably like the new year.
We have exactly. Until then, we have a very, very interesting episode.
We do.
And Nick actually produced the episode, so I'm just gonna leave it in his hands.
I did work this week, guys. I didn't just come in and be the personality like I do every week.
He's the producer this week.
So, topic number 1 is WTF did Seth say this week?
Yo.
Oh, Seth. It's just like you don't stop talking. It's just like, it's like diarrhea of the mouth. It's like, shut up. So, during a convention appearance in Houston last week, Seth was asked about the possibility of being in a match with Kenny Omega. And he says, and I quote, "When Kenny's done playing in the minor leagues over there, then he can come and work at the absolute top professional wrestling company in the world in front of the most people and make the most money and have the biggest matches, which is with me at WrestleMania." Then this caused JR to call him out on his podcast. I think it's Grilling JR. And he said that his dig at Omega doesn't do any favors for our business. And he claimed in this quote that Seth is not as over as Becky Lynch, which is mad funny. He goes, "Rollins is in a great spot. He's blessed. Maybe someday he'll be as over as his girlfriend. I don't know. Nonetheless, I've always liked his work. He's a solid guy. But saying things like that make him look bad, and I feel badly." He also went on to reveal that there are 2 Hall of Famers who he spoke to about this topic who were embarrassed about what Seth Rollins had to say, and he questioned whether Seth is being critical of wrestlers from other companies to really kind of gain the favor of like everybody, his higher ups. He said, "I don't know what the answer is, but for a top talent that's been blessed with great health right now and making a ton of money and dating the hottest woman in the business, arguably by many, man, mad funny, pun intended. I know it was intended. Man, what have you got to jab out? Are you kidding me?" End quote. So, what do you think about this?
So I'm gonna start with this. I don't see anything necessarily wrong with what he said. Like when he says, wrestle me at the top wrestling company. I think that the label top is subjective because some people base the top wrestling company based off of who has the most capital.
But if we're basing it off of revenue,
if we're basing it off of revenue, then WWE is the biggest.
Yeah,
I don't think that there's any secret about that. WrestleMania is still the biggest stage in wrestling, regardless of
Isn't it like the top 3 sports?
It's one of the top 6 most valuable sports brands in the world. It's the 6th most valuable sports.
Okay, I thought it was
more. sports brand in the world. So WWE is the top professional wrestling company, at least as it pertains to revenue. It is they do create the biggest stages for professional wrestlers. As far as like a top match, would I consider Kenny and Seth at Mania as a top match? Absolutely.
That's a WrestleMania main event.
That it is a main event. That is for sure. Would it be in front of the most people? Absolutely. If it's at WrestleMania, that's at least 60 to 80,000 people, even if WWE has to give out some free tickets or whatever the case may be. So and to be completely honest, I don't see anything wrong with what Seth Rollins had to say per se. I just feel like what ends up happening is that when you talk too much and people are already annoyed by you, they're going to simply get on you for whatever you're saying. So it's just like, I don't think that Seth was wrong per se. I think that his timing was off.
Yeah.
And to be completely honest, I also feel like if he's already the Universal Champ, I don't think that his intention is to win the favor of the higher ups at WWE. Because if he didn't have the favor, I don't think he would have had the title.
Yeah.
To begin with, I think that what he is trying to do is to create this morale backstage when it comes to WWE. I don't think that it's any secret that yes, WWE is very profitable at the moment. That WWE is, they signed a deal with Fox. They have the new backstage show. Business is good with them in USA. But I feel like when it comes to the wrestlers backstage, the morale is low because the wrestlers do not have creative control. That then not everybody is in a position that they want to be in.
Right.
That's weird.
I was like, what is that?
I was about to say. But I feel like when it comes down to the morale backstage, it's not necessarily on the up and up. And that's the reason why I believe that Seth is going about this the way that he is. But other than that, though,
You got to remember that I'm sure JR is taking into account every single thing that Seth has said from the very beginning of the year till now. And that includes the Will Ospreay Twitter beef comments. Right. That includes the comments about Jon Moxley. That includes the comments that he made about AEW. That includes everything that he has said over the past, where are we in October, over the past 10 months, or everything that he said basically after WrestleMania that has made him kind of look like, what are you doing? Like, shut up. Those Will Ospreay comments were 1,000% out of line.
Yeah,
especially when he brought, brought the money into it. Those those Jon Moxley comments were 10,000% out of line. Because if that's your friend for real, which to this day I still don't think that's his friend for real, because you don't talk about your friends like that.
Exactly.
If that's your friend for real, you're not finna disrespect him like that. That's just what it is. And now, and I'm sure that there's been other things that said, whatever all the stuff on Twitter that he said to defend Hell in a Cell, and the Sasha crew attacking him a month ago when he did when Sasha mocked him on Twitter and he did you're gonna underdeliver in a match, and then his tweet was poetry because his match underdelivered. I'm not gonna say he did, because Seth is a great wrestler,
but the match itself, the performance itself was just not up to par.
The match itself was just not that great. But putting that all in the past, as far as this goes, I don't see an issue with this at all. I don't see an issue with what Seth said, really. I think it's taking into account everything that he had said.
Oh, I was going to say also, to kind of add to what you're saying as far as like a reason as to why he would be doing it. And this is the reason I was on my phone, because I was trying to figure out how old he was. So he's 33 now, which means that 20 years ago he was 13. And if my memory serves me correctly, according to Seth, he's wanted to be a professional wrestler his whole life. So imagine being a teenager during the Monday Night Wars,
right,
and you're watching all of these performers be on the front line and trash talking the other side. And it's just like, now you're on the front line because now you're in a form of a war. I feel like that's the lens that Seth Rollins is coming from, because it's just like, not only are you a professional wrestler, not only are you the face of the top professional wrestling company in the world, but you are the spokesperson and the go-to guy when it comes to WWE.
Right.
And now you're standing on the front line of a war against a company like All Elite Wrestling, and because of their relationships and their press and the talent that they have, they're the company within the past 20 years that can actually pose a serious threat to challenging WWE as it pertains to cable TV ratings.
Right, and you're 100% right in that aspect, but my whole thing is like when it comes to even, you know, the whole thing where he's like, where JR was like, I don't know if he's trying to make good with his bosses, you know, it could just be the fact that he might be, you know, and I've heard a bunch of other people say this, that he could be just cracking under the pressure. You know, it could just be the fact that there's a lot of pressure on Seth right now at the moment. He's the top champion in the company. Because we all know they value the Universal Championship more than they value the WWE Championship as of right now.
Very true.
But, you know, well, not as of right now, because whatever. But you know what I'm saying. You know, they value the red belt more than they value the blue belt, for real.
Black belt.
So, same thing. So, I feel like he might just be cracking under the pressure and he feels like he has to do this. You know, when you have somebody like Roman who barely mentions them, you know, if somebody asks Roman about anything like that, he'd be like, you know, I wish him success, I hope for the best. And that's the kind of thing that you want your top guy to say.
Right.
I think it's just, I don't know, because Seth has always been one of the top guys, but never the top guy. It's always been like Roman.
Right.
So I think it may just be the fact that maybe Roman for the past 5 or 6 years has been groomed up until this point to, you know, be this person, be the guy who, you know, goes out to these interviews and says these things. Maybe it's the fact that Seth hasn't really gotten the training or something, like the PR training for real.
I feel the opposite because he has gone through the NXT system, and I think that one of the things that NXT is really good at is creating these multifaceted entertainers, not just people who can wrestle, but people who can do PR. But I think the biggest question is, what does WWE want to say to the world right now? Not just what is the top guy. Because, I mean, my whole thing is that while Roman has been in these interviews and doing PR for like the past 5 to 6 years, whatever Roman has said has not deterred the momentum of Cody, of the Young Bucks, of Kenny Omega, which eventually led to the advent of All Elite Wrestling.
Right. And that's not necessarily what I'm saying. I'm not saying that like, you know, he's not trained in PR. What I'm saying is he might, you know, the best experience is going out there and just, you know, learning from being out there. And, you know, NXT, they have, what is it, Radio Row or Media Row during WrestleMania Access, where basically they just sit there and they have mad people come in and
podcasts,
you know, mad podcasters and radio hosts and stuff like that, which is cool, you know what I'm saying? And that right there gives you a bit of PR training. But I'm saying going out there, being the top guy, going out, doing your interviews, doing your media, going out, like Charlotte is the top media guy for one of for the company, for whatever brand she's on. Sasha Banks is another one. They have her out there all the time. They have they're starting to put Bayley out there a lot more. Becky Lynch, you know, the 4 horsewomen, basically they're the people that people reach out to. The 4 horsewomen, Roman Reigns, you know, those are the people that they're going to reach out to. And also, and again, I don't think that Seth is wrong. I think that Seth is, you know, Seth is sticking up for his company.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? If he would have, before he would have even brought in the money situation with Will Ospreay, I would have said that this was a cool little back and forth because Seth is sticking up for his company. You know, Sir Wilkins on Thursday made a very great point on the Jobber Tears podcast. They went live. They go live every Thursdays. Make sure you guys check them out. But he made a very great point. It was just like, bro, if AEW was making comments like this, everybody pops.
It's a fact.
Which I agree.
That's a fact.
Everybody pops for these comments that AEW makes. But then when Seth does it, it's a problem. And I think, like I said earlier, I think it's because of the controversy that Seth has been involved in all year. If Seth had just went on and made this one comment about Kenny Omega, I think that they still would have given him flack for it, but there would have been more people like, dude, he's just sticking up for his company, like, chill.
But I think that's accurate. But I also think that, kind of going off of what Sir Wilkins was saying, WWE, regardless of how you feel about their creative direction, regardless of how you feel about their talent, they are the big guy on the block. They are the bully when it comes to professional wrestling. And so they are the New York Yankees of professional wrestling. They are the tried and true company. They are the company that has dissolved pretty much every single other company. And so because of that, people don't like winners. People like the underdog. And so I feel like part of the reason why Seth is being ostracized and villainized for the things that he's saying is that he's saying it on behalf of the winners.
Right.
Saying it on behalf of the New York Yankees of pro wrestling. And because of that, he's catching a bunch of flack for it. But
yeah, so that's basically that. I definitely want to know how you guys feel about, Seth Rollins' comments. So, leave a comment down below. If this clip goes up on Instagram, I don't know. You could put this, leave a comment on Instagram as well. Talk to us. Because, there's always somebody listening.
Very true.
There's always somebody there. So, New Japan Pro Wrestling has announced their newest business venture into the United States of America, titled New Japan Pro Wrestling of America. I actually think the name is very long, but it's okay. Like, I don't, there were a few people that were just like, this name is like really wacky, but it is what it is. So, New Japan Pro Wrestling announced that they plan on launching New Japan Pro Wrestling of America. I am not going to pronounce their CEOs' names. I'm not going to sit here and do it. So the CEOs, they spoke about it during a press conference. They spoke about the phases. In phase 1, they hunted for the talent. In phase 2, they started doing the U.S. events, which started, I think, in 2017.
Yeah.
And now phase 3, they're going to establish NJPW of America. So they're going to start hosting events in the West Coast, in Texas, in the Southeast, East, and Mid areas. So in the West, they're going to do 6 cities across 4 states. In the Mid, they're going to do 7 cities across 6 states. In Texas, they're going to do 4 cities. In the Southeast, they're going to do 6 cities across 4 states. And in the East, they're going to do 4 cities across 3 states. The tours will take place, and the regular New Japan Japanese tours will be placed on hiatus. So what are your thoughts on kind of their newest business venture into America? And also, what do you think about the talent that they're going to have on?
I personally believe that New Japan is about 3 years too late. Let me put it like this. If they go about this the right way, I feel like this can be a very, very successful venture. I believe that one of the things, I feel like there has to be multiple things before they go full on, and they have to do multiple things to kind of put things in order before this expansion really blossoms and what it can be. The number one thing is that they have to figure out some type of partnership or cease their partnership with Ring of Honor. Yeah. I believe that Ring of Honor's booking is not as good as it used to be. I believe that their storytelling is not up to par. And quite frankly, contrary to what they used to be, they do not have the strong grip on United States professional independent wrestling that they did 2 to 3 years ago.
Right.
Part is because of the departure of the Bullet Club. And part is because of just the booking that they've been doing over the past 2 years.
Right.
So I feel like if New Japan were to expand into the U.S., I believe that it could work because they do have a unique set of talent that people in the U.S. want to see. They have Okada, they have Kota Ibushi, they have Kenta, they have the remaining talent of the Bullet Club. However, I feel like the only way that the New Japan U.S. expansion works is if they strike some type of deal with AEW. I feel like they're the only company in which they can partner with that can bring in a lot of fans for New Japan, mostly because the talent in New Japan, I'm not answering this, mostly because the talent in New Japan has unfinished business with people in All Elite Wrestling.
Right.
Kota and Kenny is an unfinished story. Bullet Club versus the Elite is an unfinished story, in my opinion. Hold on, I'm gonna answer this. Yo, bro, I'm doing the podcast right now. Where you at?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
So what
Hey,
time
Paul.
are you leaving? I'm headed over now.
Yeah, probably gonna be leaving around like 12:30, 12:45. Just come over now, okay?
Alright, let me get everything.
Later.
Shout out to Paul G, guys.
Shout out to Paul G. But, yeah, I feel like that's the thing with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I feel like they have to do some new things, spark up some new partnerships in order for this to be as successful as it can be.
So I'm not exactly sure what this means. I was listening to Wrestling Observer Radio, whichever one is the one with Dave and Brian. And I think that's radio. And he said that He said,
Boo.
oh my gosh. He said that. Well, okay, let me not say this is a report because I don't remember the exact quote. But I believe that he said that the Japanese talent, like your Okadas and your Tanahashis and your Ibushis, your Ibushis, they're not going to be on these tours. It's going to be the American talent that they found and signed. So that's what I feel like that's what I remember hearing. But so that would be very interesting if you're doing these New Japan US tours with US talent, which I mean makes sense because you're in the US, and maybe you have, and I guess they could kind of use it as almost like an NXT style thing. I know they already have the Young Lions.
Right.
They already, kind of.
They already have like a LA dojo.
Right.
So
they already have like dojos around the world and stuff like that. But they could almost kind of use the New Japan US as kind of like that middle way, seeing as how NXT is kind of now the third brand and Evolve is really what NXT used to be. If you kind of have been paying attention to the way that they've been cycling talent from Evolve into NXT and, kind of cycling them around, I definitely think that is what they could use this as kind of like the newer version of NXT, as to where it's the third brand. It's not, you're not like a young lion, you've been in the business for quite some time, you're not necessarily a young lion, but they don't necessarily have you on the big shows fighting for, they don't have you on Wrestle Kingdom fighting Okada for the the IWGP.
NWG.
I was like, where am I right now? The IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So I can see this working. I like the idea. It's good for me, somebody who's always wanted to go to a New Japan show. I mean, we both went to G1 Supercard. That was,
we're going to the Garden.
LOL. The Allure was a thing.
Our little Brownsville suites were cute, though. Our Brownsville boxes.
They were great.
We
were almost there for Raw in September, but they upgraded our seats, so it was just like, period. But anyway, as far as I'm concerned, I think this is a great business venture.
Right.
I think that, it all depends on how they play their cards.
Very true.
So, however they play their cards is however they, that determines how they kind of move on in, as far as this business venture goes.
Right.
So, what are you guys' thoughts on New Japan Pro Wrestling of America? Again, leave your comments down below. So I do have an injury report. Unfortunately, Xavier Woods, torn Achilles tendon. He's probably going to be out for about a year.
Yeah.
So, first of all, definitely well wishes to Xavier.
Yeah.
Which that means we're going to be getting a lot more Up, Down, Down content. Which Up, Down, Down is such a great channel. If you don't follow Up, Down, Down on YouTube, they're great.
They are.
What's next for the New Day?
Well, I feel like the central entertainment piece of the New Day, without a doubt, is Xavier Woods. I feel like Xavier is the type of person to still be with the New Day during his injury and still making it work because he's just that entertaining. However, because this isn't ballet, when you're by a ring, you have to be prepared for any type of physical action.
Right.
Period. And I feel like Xavier is just not in a place to even be near a ring. So I think he should sit this one out. And I feel like when it comes to the New Day, there should be a feud between Big E and Kofi Kingston. Because I feel like, number one, Big E has a lot of main event potential, and I feel like he's been waiting for an opportunity to be elevated to that main event status. People forget that before the New Day, Big E was a multiple-time Intercontinental Champion. He was involved in some big matches, but I feel like with his involvement with the New Day, he was put prominently into the tag team scene, and he has done really, really well for himself. But I feel like Big E can have a really good singles run, and I feel like a feud with Kofi can catapult him into that. But as far as New Day is concerned, if Xavier's going to be out for a year and they just continue to have Kofi and Big E tagging together, I feel like there needs to be at least either one type of entertainment piece or one type of central entertainment piece that can take the place of Xavier, or Big E needs to turn on Kofi. And because I feel like even after Kofi lost the title, he's kind of become just like an afterthought back to, whatever he was doing before he got the title, and just was just like, so I feel like this is a good way to kind of highlight both of them.
I don't think they should break up yet. They move a lot of merchandise.
Very true.
Together. And I think if you break them up, I think they're going to lose that merchandise money. And then outside of a big main event feud, what happens? Because you can break them up and you can have Big E go after the Intercontinental Championship or even the WWE title. He loses, and then what do? Do they send him right back down to, doing pre-show matches? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not, and that's in no way like disrespect or anything, but like, we know how they treat certain talent in that company. And I'm not even just saying that. I'm saying, period. If they don't see something in particular in you, they're not going to, push you that well.
Right.
Now, they gave Kofi this opportunity because the people got behind him and they knew. I did not say Siri is so nosy.
Keep talking.
Mind your business. So, the people got behind him, and if they didn't put him in that WrestleMania match, we would have gotten another Daniel Bryan situation. I'm 100% convinced that there would have been people like, no, we want to see Kofi. We don't care about these people. I don't care about who you want. Because I'm sure it was going to be Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens, and I'm sure they would have probably made it a triple threat match. We didn't want to see that at the point. At that point. But okay, so my point is with New Day. I don't know if you paid attention. I think it was last week on SmackDown. Otis and Tucker, and they had like their 8-man tag match, and they came in. They were like, "Hey, we just want to, cheer you up after losing the title." And Kofi's like, "Yeah, no, it's cool. I got the power of positivity." But if you pay attention, Kofi's kind of like crinkling up his the pancakes that he has in the hand, and he's like really upset about it. So I think this can be a slow build to not just a Kofi turn, but a New Day turn, and having them kind of go back to the heels that they used to be, because I thought they were more entertaining.
They were more entertaining as heels. I feel like they're equally entertaining, but
because I actually was starting to get tired of them in like 2018. I was just like, okay, like I'm tired. It's the same thing.
But I didn't mind it because I feel like with 2018, the reason why I tolerated them as faces is because them and the Usos was just such a good rivalry, and that took up the bulk of the year.
That was more 2017.
I thought that was 2018.
2017, they had their really great match at
Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell, the SummerSlam pre-show match. They had that really great match on SmackDown.
2017, yeah.
Yeah. So, so my point is, I think that they're both going to turn. And then I could kind of see Xavier, and I mean, I could kind of see one or two things happening. I could kind of see Xavier coming back and trying to be like, dude, like, no, like, whatever. And then he ends up turning with them. Or I could see kind of them breaking up and Xavier breaking up down the line and Xavier coming back and kind of being torn between the two. And either ultimately being on his own or ultimately going with Kofi or going with Big E or whatever. So I definitely think that the New Day either way is going to be successful.
Yeah.
They announced that they're going to have a SmackDown Women's Championship. Where am I today? SmackDown Tag Team Championship match against the Revival, even though they lost yesterday. So.
I'm just glad that AEW has wins and losses that matter.
I was just like, I literally commented on their Twitter. I was like, but they lost. I was like, somebody was like, but they announced the match before. I was like, okay, but they lost. That's the point. Like, I would have at least given it to. Even if it's a heel versus heel match, you give it to the people who win. Who
win, right? But
or at least make it a triple threat match.
But we don't know these things.
Whatever.
Let's get to the
next topic. Blood Money 4.
Oh no!
I don't want to see this anymore.
I'm not. Honestly, I have a lot of better things to do on Halloween than watch.
I'm not gonna watch it, but I would like to give my predictions.
All right. So who do you feel?
So I don't think this is all the matches. I don't quite care.
Keep going.
So here we go. We have the biggest tag team turmoil match of all time, to quote the best tag team in the world. Who do you have and why?
Street Profits. If this is involving all the tag teams, correct?
All the tag teams.
Street Profits. I believe that their main event, they debuted as a main event on Raw.
Right. I think Vince likes them.
That is huge. I feel like as far as entertaining tag teams on the main roster, they are the most entertaining.
Yeah.
I feel like they are pretty much at the forefront of the tag team division on either brand. Giving it to a tag team championship team at this particular time would be too boring. But I just feel like the Street Profits are going to win. And those are my guys because we want the smoke. So
The answer is simple. It's for the best tag team in the world. Is it going to be Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon?
that's hilarious because I can actually see that happening.
Like, hello? Shane McMahon went and won a stupid tournament last year and called himself the best in the world for a freaking year, and it got on everybody's nerves. I mean, I don't really care. Yeah, Street Profits, whatever. All right, 20-man battle royal. The winner will face AJ Styles later on in the show for the United States Championship.
The Universal States Championship?
Yeah, whatever.
Is there a list of people who's in the battle royal?
They did not announce who's in the battle royal, so you can pick a random person.
I'm gonna go with it's the United States, right? Mm-hmm. Considering how Raw ended a week and change ago, I would say Kevin Owens. I would say Kevin Owens.
I actually didn't even think about that until just now.
Yeah.
Is he going?
I'm-
Well, I'm going to take into account that Kevin did not go to the last show.
So he may not be at this
he
one.
may not be there. I'm going to say Cedric, and I think Cedric goes all the way and wins the championship.
I would love that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, KO or Cedric. What's the next battle?
Mansoor versus Cesaro. Mansoor. It's his hometown.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Whatever. Who cares? Cain Velasquez versus Brock Lesnar.
Kane.
You think so?
Kane's gonna go over. Because this is not for the title. This is for the title, right?
It is for the championship.
Oh no, so Brock's gonna go over.
I think Kane is going to win by disqualification. Probably by Brock just beating too much ass.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I just think that I would be so tight if I was like
Or maybe like a steel chair shot.
probably.
Because this is a match that you put on a Big Four.
This is a match you put on a Big Four.
I
mean, remember, because Crown Jewel is as big as WrestleMania.
Shut up. No. This is a match you put on a Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble,
Main
WrestleMania.
event. Yeah, very true.
So, I mean, they
I can see
could build
Brock.
to a main. They could maybe have Kane an injury angle where maybe Brock injures Kane, and then they take this to WrestleMania. I just don't feel like Kane is gonna win the championship when they have their tried and true WrestleMania main event for how many straight years? For 2 years. It wasn't straight years, but the tried and true WrestleMania main event: Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. When you have that, you could possibly have that. I'm sure Vince is just creaming his pants.
Yo, that's a graphic image that I did not want to get in my mind.
Anyway.
But let's move on to the next.
Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman. I promise you, if Braun Strowman does not win this match, Braun Strowman is already a loser to me.
Yeah.
Because he just doesn't win. So if he loses this match to a guy who doesn't even work for the company,
I feel like he's gonna lose.
I think he's gonna lose too.
I think he's gonna lose to Tyson Fury, and I feel like this is going to catapult Braun to being a heel again.
it's just the same old story with him.
Is he good Braun or is he bad Braun?
I just do not find Braun interesting anymore. The last time I really, 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 truly found Braun interesting was in 2017.
Him and Roman.
Roman Reigns rivalry was so great. And then his match, the build up to that match with Brock was so great for the match to be a dud. Anyway. And Team Terry versus Team Flair.
Terry's team is gonna win because it's a face team. So
Team Flair because Hulk Hogan.
I mean, screw him, but I'm just
Team Flair.
Vince would much rather have his
'Cause-
racist win.
Hulk Hogan. That's his name. Hulk Hogan.
Hogan?
Hulk Hogan.
Anyway. So
Hoe Kogan.
So we want to know your predictions for Blood Money 4. So be sure to comment below. Tell us what you feel. And I'm not gonna be watching on Halloween.
I'm not either. But Jobber Tears, they're gonna be somewhere. I just don't remember where.
Check on their page.
Yeah, check their page because they definitely said that they're gonna be like not at Legends. They're gonna be like somewhere else.
Probably. Yeah.
So don't go to Legends. If don't go there.
Do
They're
not go
gonna
to
be there.
Legends.
I mean, you can, but you'll probably watch like other sports.
I was about to say yeah.
All right, so I'm introducing a brand new segment this week called #TWT, Trending Wrestling Topic. This week's trending wrestling topic is #Fix WWE 2K20. Now listen, you're gonna have to clock me because I got some stuff to say about this game. I'm gonna let you go first.
All right, I'm gonna stop the camera.
And you're gonna have to clock me. WWE 2K20 officially launched this past Tuesday to a very, 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 very bad response from fans, from Twitter. The game launched broken. For some people, it had people clipping through the ropes, and you would power bomb them on steel steps, and the steel steps would sink into the ring, and it was just a whole big thing. There were rendering issues. It's so bad that the game literally crashes. Like, I was playing, we're not gonna talk about my experience yet. 2K developed the game by themselves this year with their in-house, in-house graphic designers, what they're called, Visual Concepts. Ukes, the Japanese company who has been developing these WWE games since the 2000s, has left. They are no longer a part of the development for WWE games. So this horrible launch has prompted this #Fix WWE 2K20. It was trending worldwide on Twitter for all of Tuesday. So,
Dag.
before I start, do you have any comments on this before I start?
Well, you can start and then I'm gonna go after you.
Okay.
So you got, I'm gonna say 1 minute. Actually, no. Let me stop. You said you have 2 minutes.
Here we go. 2K. This has been the same song and dance since 2014. They got the license in 2012 maybe. Their first 2K game was supposed to be 2K13, but THQ had developed WWE 13, so they let that game go out. They developed 2K14, but really it was Ukes that was doing most of the development, and 2K was kind of just slapping their name on it.
Right.
This year, 2K had full creative control over the game. If you know that you don't have enough time or have the proper resources to release a game, do not release this game. The gaming industry now has become so monopolized with the fact that it's microtransactions and you have to pay these pay to win situations. This situation happened about 2 years ago with Star Wars Battlefront 2, where it was pay to win and you had to pay to win, you could pay real money to get further in the game than somebody who is putting in actual hours. You could put 80 hours in the game but still not have enough to beat somebody who put 10 hours in the game but spend $100 on something that whatever. Now, WWE doesn't really have microtransactions, but what they have is these stupid glitches and these stupid bugs. The game crashed on me 3 times in the span of 10 minutes 2 days ago. I tried to play a 6-man match. a 6-woman match that I was using as like a number one contenders thing in my universe mode, it crashed every time I tried to play this match. Literally every time. Every variation I tried to play, it would not let me play this match. And it's so irritating. The fact that I spent $97.98 on a video game that doesn't work. It doesn't work. It was 60 gigabytes. I'm
space.
going over 2 minutes because I have more to say. It was 60 gigabytes of space for a game that doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's a broken game. How on earth do you sell something like this? Now, there may have been a contract in place with WWE that's like, hey, we're going to you have to release this game. We have a hard set date for the fall. This is when you have to release the game. But to me, that's complete BS. I don't want to hear, oh, well, we have to release this game at this time because that determines whether or not. I don't care. If you know that you have an unfinished game, you should not be releasing it to people who are spending money. To the point where people spent $130 on a SmackDown edition and didn't get their autographs that they were supposed to get. If I paid $130 for an autograph from Edge and I open it and there's no Edge autograph
Fam,
on
we
there,
going to Stanford.
I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up to Canada. I'm pulling up to wherever Edge lives at. I'm knocking on the door. And it's not Edge's fault. It's not even WWE's fault for real. It's 2K's fault, and it's WWE games, and it's the WWE developers. It's y'all fault. This is not a game that should have been released.
And boom. So my segment is going to be a little bit smaller as far as time and length, but because I kind of just agree with everything that Angela was saying. But yeah, you shouldn't be releasing a game that you know is broken. You shouldn't be releasing a game that you know is not functioning to the best of its ability. And on top of that, to kind of add another layer to everything that is happening, WWE's creative climate isn't the best. Ratings are dropping. There's an alternative wrestling product that people are tuning into, and fans are leaving WWE. And because there are people who are advertisers who are willing to collaborate with AEW, who is to say that THQ isn't willing to work on
THQ is dead.
I mean, not THQ. Ukes. Who is to say that Ukes wouldn't be willing to collaborate on an AEW game? All of these things now have to be monitored closely than they usually are, because now there's another league in town. There's another league in town.
Ukes left to work on another IP, another wrestling IP. So it could very well be an AEW video game.
But that would be crazy. But it's like, you can't just go about business as normal, because as far as wrestling is right now, business is not normal. Like you have to take into consideration that there is competition now. You have to take into consideration that people are leaving the WWE product to find their wrestling high elsewhere. So you can't just go about it the way that you would now. What I would say is that I can't necessarily blame 2K for being complacent, because WWE 2K, regardless of how you feel about the quality of the game, 2K as a gaming sports franchise has been at the top of its game for about a couple.
It actually has not been, and
Really?
we're gonna be honest. I'm gonna just to kind of keep this topic going a little bit. NBA 2K20, that same hashtag a month and a half ago
was on NBA
2K20 because of microtransactions, because of glitches, because of game-breaking things that people are sick of. You know, it's been 6 years since we've gotten 2K slapped on the name of a WWE game, and people have been asking for different match types. It took 6 years for us to get mixed tag team matches back in these games.
Right.
6 years. It took years for us to get matches back in the games that have been that are in SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. These games are 20 years old, but I bet you I could go back to that game and find a match type that is not
in 2K.
In 2K.
So
And that just goes back on the developers. You guys need to be listening to the people who are buying the games. The sales for these 2K games have gone down. 3 years ago, it was 3 million people were buying this game. This last year for WWE 2K19, 1 million people bought the game.
And now probably is going to be less than that, considering all the glitches that are happening in this game.
It's going to go under 1 million next year, because now people are going to be cautious. And You promised us The Fiend. It's a pre-order bonus. But you can't play as The Fiend on day one. Do you want to know why? Because it's going to be patched in later. You can't do Create a Championship day one. You want to know why? It's going to be patched in later. You know what they said? Yes, it took them 4 days to release a statement about the game being about these game-breaking bugs. And you know what they said? Yeah, well, it's going to be 2 weeks before we get out a day one patch. A day one patch. Day one. So that means the patch should have came out on the 22nd, not November 14th. I'm never buying a 2K game again. I'm done. Like, I'm literally going to fight. I'm going to fight with Sony because the Japanese people over there with Sony, they don't play that. They don't play the refund game, okay? I'm going to be fighting with Sony. Sony's giving out refunds for digital video games. They don't do that. They don't play that in Japan. I'm getting my refund. I'm getting my $100 back because I'm really disappointed. You have the women as a forefront this year. And who knows, they could use this as an excuse on why the video game didn't sell. Oh, it was the women.
No, not at all.
Because that's the sole reason I bought the game. I wanted to play through the women's evolution. That's the sole reason I bought it. I wanted to play the women's evolution. I wanted to play the new My Career, which if you saw the graphics, if you heard the dialogue for the My Career, it reflects on what WWE is right now. Did you see Maven made his in-game return?
I did not.
That is The Rock.
That's
Did
mad
you see
funny.
The Rock? The Rock looks like he's straight out of a PS2 game. They said he looks like Maven. He looks exactly
He
like Maven.
does look like Maven now that I think about it. I didn't even
They
think
have
about
Randy
that.
Savage looks like Eugene.
I'm
Are
about
you
to check.
kidding me?
I'm about to say Randy.
Bailey has on a resting face in her thing. It's just
Yo,
he looks like Eugene.
he does look like Eugene.
Go look at The Rock. Look at The Rocks. I'm telling you, he looks like Maven. How is it that last year, the hit detection, they changed the controls. That's it right there.
Yo, oh my God.
The hit detection, he looks just like Maven. The hit detection is terrible. They changed the controls this year, which made it 1,000 times more
worse.
complicated. It's just like, it's hard. Charlotte Flair, her in-game render, and the referee are like having intercourse in the middle of the ring because of this stupid glitch.
This is mad funny. I'm like looking over this Forbes
And the
now.
patch is coming out in 2 weeks.
A day one patch.
And a bump in the night, The Fiend was supposed to come out on the 28th. I don't care about The Fiend. Give me my $100 back. I don't want to play as The Fiend anymore. I don't want that. I want my $100. I'm gonna go spend my $100 on something that's a little bit more important. I'm gonna continue to play WWE 2K19 until y'all decide that y'all want. I'm gonna get this game for $20 when it comes out for
On
Christmas.
sale, on Christmas.
On sale for Black Friday. That's when I'm gonna get it.
That's
I'm
mad
done. I might not be done, but I'm done.
for now.
For now.
But that concludes today's episode of Culture
That does
316.
not conclude today's
Really?
episode.
What else are you have to do? Because remember, we gotta.
I know. I have 2 more things.
We're at
At the very did you not scroll down to the bottom? Look at him trying to end the episode. I know we got places to go and things and people to see.
But we really do though, and it's like about to be one.
We'll do this really quickly. Of course, really quickly, I want to bring up the numbers
For what?
for this Wednesday.
Okay.
AEW is now below 1 million viewers.
For the first time.
963,000 viewers.
But they still beat NXT because
Still beat NXT. NXT is 712,000, which is up from last week. But I don't know. I feel like, AEW has been losing viewers kind of every week. There was an article that I read on Twitter that was basically like, there could very well be, it was their talking about their inclusion thing, where they sign Nyla Rose, they sign Sunny Kiss, you have these people who, you sign for the purpose of being for your more inclusivity, for, having more people or more diversity and stuff like that. But people are like, we haven't really seen Nyla Rose on television, and where's Sunny Kiss? And I can't say that they're wrong.
Yeah, they're not.
Where is Sunny Kiss? AEW's women's division is just, I think that's one of the best things that WWE has over AEW is the fact that their women's division is deep and it's stacked. So that's one thing that I wanted to bring up. And number 2 is I just wanted to say rest in peace NXT 2015 to 2016. because the top guy and the top girl of NXT from that year, they are both heel.
They're both heel. And to be honest, I am very excited about them heel turns. Like, if I could be completely...
I'm excited about Finn's heel turn, but let me explain something to you, Finn. We got beef. Finn Balor, we got beef. I know you be in Brooklyn. If I see you in the streets, it's on site. Like, we got beef. You disrespected Johnny Gargano. You disrespect Johnny Gargano. You disrespect me. So that's all I got to say. We got beef. If I see you, it's on site. Like, that's it. And that's on period.
But I think that Finn's, like, they did a nice little interview on WWE Backstage on Fox this past week, and he was just like, remember Booker was just asking him, like, yeah, so what's different? He was like, you a fan? And Finn was like, you were a fan of my work before WWE, right? And Booker was like, yeah, man, I used to show people your matches, and I said that this kid is the future. And Finn just looked at him and he said, well, let's just say the Prince is back. And I was like,
Period.
heard you.
But all I have to say is we got beef. So I don't care what you are. You a prince, but I'm a hood nigga. Like, let's go.
I like Finn.
My last thing that are you done?
I'm done with that.
All right. Last thing that I wanted to do was really quickly, I wanted to take you guys on a journey backwards. This day, I'm going to do...
Today in wrestling?
I'm going to bring back a thing that we used to do for the live shows, if you have been with us for that long. This day in wrestling history. So since it's Sunday, the 27th, this day, 6 years ago, was Hell in a Cell 2013. Took place at the American Airlines Arena, Miami, Florida. So I'm going to read you this match card, and we're going to laugh at this. So starting from the bottom, on the pre-show, back when pre-shows were only like 30 minutes. You owe me a soda. Damian Sandow pins Kofi Kingston in 7:05.
7 minutes and 5 seconds?
Yes.
Wow.
In the dark match, in the pre-show match. Insane to me.
That's mad funny, actually, when I think about it.
You know, in the opener, Cody Rhodes and Goldust retain the WWE Tag Team Championships against Jimmy and Jey Uso and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Do you remember that match?
I don't.
14:38. That was the time.
Keep going.
Number 3, Fandango and Summer Rae defeated Natalya and the Great Khali.
Yo, I
This
forgot
match card was so funny.
I forgot that Natalya and the Great Khali was like an angle.
In 4:42, this match from the Wrestling Observer got 1 1/4, or a fourth of a star. That's what it got, a fourth of a star. How do you get a fourth of a star?
Not
That's
even just
insane.
1 full star.
Big E Langston defeated Dean Ambrose via countout for the United States Championship in 8 minutes and 41 seconds.
Wow.
Yep. CM Punk defeated Paul Heyman and Ryback in 13:45 in a Hell in a Cell match, a handicap Hell in a Cell match.
Punk.
Diego and Fernando. Oh my gosh, Diego and Fernando.
I forgot them.
I forgot about them. What were they? They were the what was their tag team name again?
Something
Conquistadores.
Los Mastadores.
Los Mastadores, something like that. They defeated Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger in 5:53. 7th match on the card. John Cena defeated Alberto Del Rio in 15:15 for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, I missed the World Heavyweight title.
I do too. In the old Bathroom Break Divas match, we had AJ Lee defeat Brie Bella and retain the WWE Divas Championship in 5:31. And in the main event for that show, we had Randy Orton defeat Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship in a Hell in a Cell match with special guest referee Shawn Michaels.
Wow.
What? Like, It's crazy to see where everybody is on this card from there to now. Kofi just not main evented, but Kofi just won the championship at WrestleMania. Big E, part of the New Day. Daniel Bryan went on to win the WWE title later on that year. AJ Lee's no longer in the company. CM Punk's no longer in the company. The Shield.
Dean Ambrose is no longer in the
Dean Ambrose is no longer in the company. The Shield kind of went on and went their separate ways, and now Roman is one of the top guys on SmackDown. Seth is the current top champion. Ryback is no longer in the company. Damian Sandow is no longer.
Damian Sandow is on NWA Power.
Cody Rhodes and Goldust are no longer in the company. Summer Rae is no longer in the company. The Great Khali. It's just like, this is 6 years ago.
This is like the alum. This entire 75% of this match card is WWE alumni.
Diego and Fernando. It's just insane to me. So
I don't even know who they are.
We're definitely gonna do this segment when I produce these shows and stuff. As long as a trending wrestling topic, I think that's a
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Those are pretty good things. But yeah, so that concludes our show.
And if you guys enjoyed what you say, please like, comment, subscribe, and we hope to see you guys